Let's head to the realm of shadow. Actually, wait, let me equip something here. All right, it's my build. Good. All right, I think we're good. Let's do this and figure out if the complaints are worthwhile or if it's just a different mixture of get good. Yep, that's our final boss. Not Godwin, not even some amalgamation freak Mikola boss. It's fucking Radon again. I mean, I like Radon, but this is kind of... I hope this isn't too fan servicey. If we got this fight in the base game, I'd be fine, but for the DLC, come on, man. Yeah, that's... It would be like playing Dark Souls 3, and at the end of the Ring City, you fight the Soul of Cinder again, but his stats are boosted. That's just weird. Man. I like the introduction to the DLC, though. I do wonder... I kind of wanted a cutscene to get us here, but this is a nice little way to kind of jump in. Gravesite Plain. There's one of those dreaded golems that I've heard so much about. So I don't really have a plan for how I'm going to tackle this. I'm just going to fuck around and walk around and see what there is to do. Oh, I'm prepared for the roll catches, sheep. This game, more than any other, has made me, prepare for the roll catching. Okay, a little bit of backstory before I get into this more specifically. I had planned to tackle this DLC with a tank build that I'm using to make a video with, but I want to save that recording for later, so I've decided to pick this glass cannon character. So this will probably be a bit more punishing because of this stuff. Just because this build is very much based on dodging, and when you don't know the attacks, dodging is pretty fucking useless. So we'll see how it goes. I'm curious of when and where we get this Scattertree blessing shit, because I've heard about that basically radically rebalancing shit in the game. So I am curious of how that all works. Alright. Consume these at sites of grace to bolster your revered spirit ash blessing. The blessing bolsters both summon spirits and spectral steeds' abilities to deal and negate damage, but also has no influence outside the realm. Yeah, see, this is the thing that I heard a lot about, was that they have a lot of shit in the DLC that only affects shit in the DLC, but also changes the balancing of things in the DLC as opposed to the base game, which I don't think has to really be explained. That's a problem, because you are basically creating a separate system that does not impact anything that you find in the base game, which I think is a very bad thing, both for balancing within the DLC and outside of it. And that is something that I think we might have problems with as we go through this, because I've heard a lot about this rebalancing bullshit, and that a lot of people like the DLC, but several people complain about those things basically making your game way easier or way harder than it probably is intended to be. Where is this site of grace at? Oh, it's right there. Seen a thing everyone has been mispronouncing Scattertree, meant to be said like Shadow Tree due to language it came from. Okay. I tend to make up things for it where it's just kind of like, I'm probably just going to call it Skippy Tree just because that's more entertaining to me. But here we are. I thought that was lame. I think we deserve to be OP for the base game if we have the drive to beat the DLC. Yeah, it's a really cheap way to make the balancing only work in the DLC and not take it into the base game, which is very annoying. This is one thing I don't understand about some of the DLCs for this franchise in general, is just, or not franchise, this company, is that so many of these enemies drop, like, mid-tier, like, upgrade items when they're in late-game areas, like, or DLC areas. It's like, why do you drop these? Why wouldn't you drop higher-level ones? That guy has a mace weapon? I assume it does big poundy shit that I don't want to deal with. Overall, I would get the DLC a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Very good, but the bosses do make me feel like these current mechanics are becoming dated. I made it work, but rolling for these aggressive bosses is just not cutting it anymore. Our player character needs to be juiced up. Wait till you open a literal chest and get 4 smithing stone 8s. You will be mauled. That's the thing. I don't mind chests giving stuff, but it's like in the DLC, it's like we should be getting stuff appropriate for the level we're in. All right, so what's this thing? Aha! Skippy tree fragments. I just beat Melania before doing this DLC, so I'm kind of like, I've got her on the brain in terms of like comparisons for difficulty's sake. I had to do her before the DLC as a punishment because I lost a bet. Got her on the first try. Still a terrible boss. I think she's great apart from two moves that utterly break her. The healing and the waterfowl dance damage. But this is one thing, right? As much as I complain about these things, like the game does give you shit to help you deal with crazy bosses that are terrible or have some terrible aspect to them. Like, as you've probably seen on my bar, I have a fully upgraded Black Knife Taish. Probably the best summon in the game, right? Or arguably up there in terms of what she's able to do. So, I mean, the game gives you things that allows you to beat the game. It's a really cheap way to beat the game when you just summon an enemy that deals ridiculous damage. The waterfowl and healing ruins it. I'd throw in the clones as well. I think the clones is that should have been her souped up move, in my opinion. That should have been the big move that like is the okay shit. I need to be careful here, rather than waterfowl. Waterfowl just goes on for so long. I need to use the shit that they put in the shit. Yeah, it's like you need to use the shit in the game to deal with the bullshit in the game. That doesn't, and I've mentioned this in other commentaries and stuff that like putting bullshit in your game and then putting other bullshit to counteract the bullshit doesn't negate the fact that you have bullshit in your game. It just means you've added a bunch of extra steps to deal with the problem that didn't have to be there to begin with. And I don't plan to make an Elden Ring commentary. That's why I'm making this Elden Ring video talking about sort of like the top 5 best and worst aspects of it, because that will cover a lot of the points I want to make about Elden Ring. Black gay old knight. He's a gay old knight. An Elden Ring commentary would force you to make a series as long as Mauler's in Defense of Dark Souls 2 series. That's the thing. If I did an Elden Ring commentary, it'd probably be like the Skyrim one where it's broken up, or where it would have to be broken up, just because there's so much stuff to cover in the game per the format I do. Because I try to cover as much as possible, and doing a game like Elden Ring where there's so much little dungeons all over the place, that'd just be ridiculous. Like I'm covering Skyrim, and it's probably going to take me probably a total of like 20 hours to cover everything in the game that I'm covering, and I'm still not covering every single cave, fort, dungeon, all this other stuff. So like with Elden Ring, it would probably be the same problem. Oh, there's that roll catching with the how much damage was that move? Like 1,500 health. Oh yeah, it changes the value of exploration when you come out not getting a fragment. Very lovely stuff. Yeah. That's the one thing, the exploration should help you refine your build, not make the game work. Like, in my opinion. It should be a thing where you go to certain places to get certain items because your build could use that item. Not that every player will want to use this thing. This is the one difference between, like, if I started with a tank build versus doing it with a glass cannon build, is glass cannon builds usually rely heavily on dodging. If I don't know it, it's just going to be pain. I do find it funny how I can technically bait out some of his attacks by just delaying my own attacks. See, look at that. Like, his attack recovery animation is faster than my shit. That's just the game being ridiculous. When you time a proper heal and get hit anyway. Yeah, it's just that shit where... I'm going to mention that in my video, too. Just all the tedious, like, delaying of openings for the player just to make the fight take longer. You're just a painting in a cave. Just a painting in a cave. Are there any hidden pathways? This is one thing that I kind of both like and dislike about the series at the same time, is the way hidden pathways work, because sometimes they're really interesting when you find them, but other times you can run into issues with not knowing where they are, like, or if they exist, period. And Elden Ring kind of amped that problem up when they have a secret passageway behind, like, a cliff wall. Like, a cliff wall is an illusory wall. And so now you sit there wondering, do I have to wall hump every cliffside in the game to make sure I don't miss anything? Dungeons are really samey after the first few. I mean, even in the base game, I'd count that as true. Some of them get kind of boring after a while. especially the repetitive ones where you have to like go through portal chests. That shit's just. If you want to waste my time, just make me run down the hallway that takes me 10 minutes to go down. Just if you're gonna be tedious, at least make it a meme. I'm a psycho. I need that clip from the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. I'm a psycho. Just have that clip every now and then whenever I'm running around just smacking dudes. Praise the breakage. Let's see how this big fucker does. Woo! That's neat. Are you going to be tedious? Looks like it. Oh god, you have so much HP. Why do you have so much HP? Okay, at least I can dodge it. Except when he just wastes my fucking time by doing it over and over. What are you about to do? Are you about to do a big Dusseldorf? Now I think about it, I probably should have made sure I had the upgraded raisins. I think about it. This is not going to work out well. Especially when he deals like 3/4 of my horse's freaking health. Oh god, this is gonna be one of those fights where I feel like I'm just not gonna win because I'm gonna get bored and run away. Because if my greatsword's hitting him for like, you know, like less than like 2% of his health, then there's no point in fighting this fucker. Like if his health pool is just. Look at that input lag. What the fuck? You better have some good shit. Aha! See, are you like the Crystalians where I like damage you and then you take more damage as I keep forgetting that fucking happens. Please let me have like a crazy critical hit after breaking this fucking thing. Fucking hell. Oh. Oh. Let me do massive damage. Please let me do massive damage. If you don't do massive damage, I'm mad. Okay, there we go. Okay, you have been slightly redeemed. I don't have to tediously break through every ounce of health on regular attacks. What the fuck? If you kill me with this grab, I'm calling massive fucking bullshit on that. That was utter fucking nonsense. Utter fucking nonsense. Grabbed me between the legs without even so much as touching me. Oh, please, 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 please. Fuck off. Fuck off. And you don't even give that many runes. Fuck you. You are actually fucking terrible. Oh, God. What are you? Oh, God. My creepy crawly instincts are kicking in the variety of, holy shit, I am scared. But this is one reason why I'm fucking awesome. It's because I did a lot of farming. And farming has taught me well. Fuck you guys! Okay, well, bosses attack as soon as you enter the boss room to prevent you from summoning out of the gate. Oh. That's not a new mechanic, right? There are several boss fights that begin with you right in front of the boss. It's really annoying. So, the DLC does that, then, like, whatever. It's just more stupid shit for, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's shit just so blatantly tedious that I consider it a mechanic. Yeah, I mean, it's a really shitty tactic. to put you right in front of the boss after the cutscene. It's just really annoying. It's such a dick move. Yeah, you're right, Andrew. It really is a dick move. I mean, I've gotten to the point where if a boss does that and I want to summon, I will just. Oh wait, I should probably upgrade the turtle shell while I'm here as well. But yeah, like it's a massively stupid move to do that just to annoy players. And I've gotten to the point where as soon as I load in the boss fight and the cutscene's over, I just quit out and reappear at the front door just to get around it. It's just such an annoying design choice that doesn't. It's a design choice that doesn't hold up after the first encounter with the cutscene, right? Because normally after that you don't have to worry about so much stuff. Visions of Logarius run back. Oh god, that run back sucked. Just absolute donkey dingle. It was absolutely terrible to run back to Logarius. I feel like the big thing about this DLC is that the bosses are going to be the problem, and the regular enemies are not going to be the problem. Because I found that to be a thing in Elden Ring that really sort of... a thing that really sort of separated the good and the bad from the game is that there's a lot of problems in Elden Ring are on the boss end, right? Like in terms of the abilities they get, how often they can spam them, how tedious they can be to deal with, how punishing they can be, as well as just how much damage they do, just in general. And one thing I've found is that I think the appeal to this game compared to the other Souls series that sort of makes it stand out is that casuals can explore the world and enjoy fighting the regular enemies because they're not too difficult. But when the bosses come around, that's when you get the proper Souls level difficulty kicking in, where the bosses are really, really difficult. And even then, you could summon if you didn't want the full brunt of the difficulty. I like that choice of going, I want to relax. Yeah, and that's one thing that I will give this game as well, is that the summons do impact the difficulty in a, I say positive way, but it's only in a sort of specific positive way. Because if a boss is terrible, having a summon to deal with it does not negate how terrible the boss is, right? And I think that's an overarching problem with different things in the game, or across this game specifically, where there's a lot of just really tedious bullshit in boss fights, and the best way to deal with it is to summon, especially when the summon is really strong, like Taish or the Mimic Tier, those things change the game to be more balanced, but the fact that you have to do that to balance it in some way is the problem to me. And that's one reason why this DLC might be the end of my From Software catalog. And I've mentioned this to a friend, is just I like this little rant back. That's handy. But yeah, one thing I've said to a friend of mine is that because we both played Elden Ring a lot, and he's kind of he's not getting the DLC, and it's one of those things where I've mentioned to him that if this DLC does not impress me or engage me in terms of the actual the total package of it, this is probably going to be my last FromSoft game I play, just because I just don't like the direction they're going in with Elden Ring, especially with the boss. The bosses were the highlights of every game, but now the bosses are the ones that have the most problems, and it's man. You've mentioned it here several times also. Yeah, I mention a lot of things a lot, so forgive me if I become very repetitive. Radon may reinforce this idea. I won't lie to you. But yeah, just we'll see how this goes. If it leaves a good impression, then hopefully good things will happen. If it leaves a bad impression, then we know what we're dealing with. And you know what's going to happen afterwards. I'll probably make my Elden Ring video and then never play this game again. Actually, that might be a little bit of a stretch. I'll probably come back and play the game at some point, just because I like enough aspects of the game to play it for other sort of videos and challenges and things like that. But this is the last game I'm probably going to be invested in getting from Software's perspective. But again, I might get blown out of the water. There might be maybe the Radon fight at the end is a good fight, and maybe it's an expansion of Radon's fight instead of just being a ripoff. Who knows? Well, I mean, people know, but I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. I felt proud actually managing to beat Radon, even if I did just spam Rot Breath. Yeah, well, I think the difference between Radon's gimmick and some of the other gimmicks is that he's meant to be this super imposing person that you should not fight alone. And I think that works well with the gimmick of the fight being that you can summon a bunch of people, and it makes the fight feel more grand without feeling cheap. You know, like Melania feels cheap because she's built up to be this incredibly uh, powerful foe, and then she usually will kill you with the same move over and over and over, being waterfowl, right? Whereas Radon, he's strong, but he's not overpowered. But he has abilities that make him look more powerful than he actually is in terms of the difficulty of the fight, right? Like the meteor attack is a great indicator of his strength level, but also, it's very easy to dodge. So it's not one of those tedious things where he's strong because he kicks the player's ass. He's strong because the environment around him makes him appear stronger than he actually is, which makes the gimmick work. I haven't found any illusory walls. Also, I want to describe Radon since Andrew won't play the DLC and you don't care about spoilers. Feel free to. Let's see. The fact that I went to include that Patches warps away early was hilarious for me. That'll be interesting to see if I find it. I think Radon was too much. The overtuned aggression, tedious emphasis on AoEs in Phase 2, and him never letting up makes it boring. I've already watched someone fight Radon. I know the secret sheep. I feel there's a major difference between, say, a DS3 boss never letting up and an Elden Ring boss never letting up. I would agree with that. Well, I think the biggest problem or not the biggest problem, but one of the bigger problems with Elden Ring is just the way it makes its difficult more tedious by just increasing combo number, right? Increasing combo number, increasing damage, increasing the range and damage of AoE attacks. It's a lot of arbitrary, just sort of make thing last longer or make radius of explosion bigger. It's that thing where the spectacle is beginning to impact the game in a negative light. And that's one reason why I take issue with different things in this game as it sort of goes along. There's just a lot of shit in here that, could have been better if it wasn't so over the top. Okay, Patches in the base Radon fight, yeah. I mean, the fact that we have to say base Radon fight, I think, is part of the problem. I really hope that From Software doesn't go down the gimmick route of just make enemy that people recognize and use again. Because there are ways to contextualize it where it can make sense from a lore perspective, but from a combat perspective, it's like you were just lazy and just ripped something off that you already made. And it's not like recontextualizes something interesting most of the time. It's probably just going to be a copy and paste, and then they add like a third phase to it or a second phase to it that wasn't there to begin with. It's sad. Like these guys can, like these developers can make good bosses that are new, but they continue to make bosses that are repetitive. Acer puts a whole new meaning into sleeper hit. That shit will hit you to sleep. Yeah, it's just that sort of like... It's like when people ramble on about something, but they don't actually make a point when they're talking. Or the points they make are so, like, out there that they don't actually impact the point. Or they just fundamentally get things wrong that are not that hard to understand. That's one thing that really annoys me. It's just like when you should know something because it's fairly obvious, but you still don't. It's like people that read into things. It's like they read into some things, but not other things. And because they read into the things they read into, they get an answer that doesn't match with the rest of, like, the stuff they missed. It's just painful. Just watching his videos is painful. I have a mental time limit. If I'm at a boss for more than 2 hours, depending on if I like them, it's time to use everything in my arsenal. Yeah, I think there's a certain aspect, especially with this game, just because the difficulty spikes are so, like, ridiculous at points, that, there comes a point where you're just like, I don't even care about absorbing the boss's moves or anything. I just want to beat them because they annoy me. And I think that's a problem that the series deals with as it gets more and more famous. It's just the more people come in, the more it's going to be affected by the normie idea of difficult. as opposed to difficult but fair, and that's going. I think that's going to adversely affect the this sort of franchise in the long run. I think the more normies sort of get involved and like the difficulty, I feel like more people are going to get really annoyed at the fact that they're going to make it more tedious and more ridiculous and less fair as time goes on too. Okay, this is the upper area of this. There's a statue of Marika here, so I'm suspicious. Why would you drop a level 1 somber smithing stone here? What is this? What is this scaling? What is this bullshit? You want some rage? Here we go. Why the fuck are you giving me early and mid-game upgrades in the DLC that should be post-endgame? Like, what is this? Hey, it's like you. Why am I able to stun lock you now when I wasn't able to stun lock you before? Was it because I was on a mount? I don't get it. I don't understand you. Dancing camera time. Oh, is this the lion? Yep, it's lion, fucker. So is this like a dead creature that gets resurrected every time there's a challenger? I bet this will be bullshit. Just because they're mentioning dancing, and the only good dancing enemy was the dancer from Dark Souls 3. Everything else has just sucked. Look upon me and despair. Rough, rough. Haha, fuck you! This has got to be phase 1. This is way too easy for phase 1. Frame rate. Don't kill me, frame rate. I kind of like how it throws the lightning spears with its mouth. That was it? That's the full fight? That was the thing that people were memeing forever as terrible? That wasn't that bad. First try incoming. I was joking, you bastard! I hate that restrictive shit with the flasks, man. That's so annoying. If it's going to restrict the flasks, I may as well just say, I'm going to wear this and not use the flasks. Why do you have to force me into not using my flasks? Fuck you. Hello, dude. Okay, you've got a lot of health. This is going to be one of those fights, isn't it? This is what tedious difficulty looks like. So you just give him a fuck ton of health, but the mechanics have not changed. Oh, look at that crap. What is this shit? In the second phase, what is this explosive crap? Damn, that is such overcompensation. It's like, we know the boss is going to be a little one-dimensional in its fight. Let's just make it really fucking spectacular looking in terms of the animations. That'll compensate for how just simple and shit it is. I love how they give shit like this. Oh, this thing doesn't require that much. This thing requires 72 intellect. It's like, oh, fuck, that's... Woo. There are many, many, like, pot bodies, which sounds like a dad insult. Oh, great. Now you have health regen, too. That's fantastic. I learned to stop holding back after Radon. When I see that summoning sign, I ring the bell instead of trying to Oonga Boonga it. Yeah. I was just... If the game throws bullshit at you, feel free to use its own bullshit against itself. That's my motto. You know what's weird is the game is built to, like, have you... Like, the game is built to catch you out for playing particular ways, but the ways that they use to catch you out, like with delayed attacks and shit, that shit works against the game as well, which just kind of makes all combat even more delayed than it's already become with delayed shit. That is one thing I complain about, how a lot of these delayed attacks are absurd to the point that I have to trial and error them. Mesmer, for one, has a delayed spear strike where he revs it up but then drags it along the ground to roll catch you. Yeah. Well, stuff like that I'm not that against. I don't hate roll catches and delayed attacks in general. It's just it's kind of just doing the same shit every single time that gets old. You know, I don't hate roll catches, but Mesmer's just felt extremely cheap. Why not just have him do the second strike so I can maintain that flow? Yeah, yeah. I think one description of these games earlier on was like that they work similarly to rhythm games, where the game doesn't get harder per se, you just get better at the game. But now we're at a point where that applies, but instead of having a rhythm game that has an actual rhythm function to it, now the rhythm's very like spaced out and sort of inconsistent at times. Hey, dude. The tracking is bad as well. Remember when you could strafe attacks like spear thrusts? Mesmer will track you on a few thrusts hard. Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things where just this series gets progressive. Oh, pots being used as staircase. That's a neat idea. But yeah, just as this series progresses, I find more and more reason to kind of dislike the way that they take cheap ways to kind of make the player suffer more. You know, like with the whole the trackings become more and more obsessive with each release of these games. Just a lot of it's just a lot of the cheap shit in the previous games has now become the norm. You know, like ridiculous amounts of health, ridiculous amounts of damage, ridiculous amounts of like tracking, ridiculous amounts of enemies. Just a lot of that shit. Just it gets old. It gets old when the difficulty just slowly railroads into that one type of shit. Like, I don't mind something being like difficult or hard. Like, I don't. See right there, I could have fucking died because the enemy would not. Like, again, just extra bullshit to make the player weaker and make the enemies stronger. Just a constant theme throughout these games as they go along, and it's just. I feel like this is one reason. I mentioned this to a friend yesterday, where I said the more normie influence seeps into this series and this company, the more I feel like they're going to go for the hard without remembering the fair part of it. Like, I feel like they're going to push farther and farther and farther, away from the fair but difficult angle and just go for the difficult angle, and that's it. Like, I feel like we're heading there. I mean, really hard. You could be behind him and he will jerk around to hit you. It's so cheap. Yes, you can definitely feel it. I haven't really felt that dodge rolling was progressively becoming more useless until this game. Reason being is that they take so many routes to trick you and make you dodge wrong, AoEs that make you run away just so much. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just a thing where just they've kind of reached the end of what they can do with these mechanics before it becomes really tedious and long-winded to do anything, right? While it still is hard, And also, I think part of the problem too is just, the spectacle has become a huge part of how all this shit works together now, when it didn't used to be like that. Just a lot of shit that didn't need, like a lot of the difficulty shit in Elden Ring, and just the difficulty has been adversely impacted by different arbitrary means of creating more difficulty, right? Like like a Melania is a good example, right? Of her move sets, almost all of her moves have a fair telegraphing, a fair setup. Their damage is reasonable considering where she's at in the late game. But then you get the self-healing on every single strike. You get these extremely extended combos and things like Waterfowl Dance and such, and other things like that. It's just a thing where they just give too much to each type of enemy by the time that they hit like the late game. And that makes every enemy fight in a similar way, which means you deal with them in a similar way, which makes them more one-dimensional when compared to each other. Especially when you get into things where just boss now begins AoE spam with massive damaging attack that takes up half the arena. You know, this is one reason I don't like the Godfrey, or not Godfrey, not the, which one is he? It's not Godric. It's the one right before Radigan. What's his name? It's Godfrey, right? Like I don't know why I just beat him like a month ago, and I forget him. The challenge in this game for me is secondary. I do challenge runs, but that doesn't mean I want difficulty shoved down my throat. Godfrey, the first AoE spammer. Yeah. Oh, again, it's just that thing where just they take an idea, they kick it up to 11, and then they do that same idea with different cosmetics with every other boss afterward. You know, it's kind of it's a problem in sort of execution of those ideas where they fight the same after a while because your strategy ends up becoming the same over time. Because it's like, okay, boss is doing their AoE spam. Now it's time to run away. All right, boss is doing their crazy long combo. But yeah, I just the difficulty in these games is becoming more one-dimensional the more overcomplicated things become, which is kind of an ironic statement that like by making it more complicated, you make it more one-dimensional. But I am a strong believer that this series is probably not going to survive as in the sort of current state that we sort of respect it in. Like it's not going to be the same type of like fair but difficult thing. You know, by the time this series hits probably its 20-year mark, like I expect it to continue down the road of take Skyrim, but then just make shit hard, and then that's the game. You know, because this is basically just Elden Ring. Elden Ring is basically just Dark Souls-esque combat mixed with a Skyrim sort of world setting. And that's probably what they're going to do moving forward because a lot of normies have eaten this series up and really enjoyed it. You know, and I wonder if that's going to be a problem as the series sort of goes on. Where am I supposed to go from here? They had it with Godfrey, though, but they had to put in some Elden Ring rot and make him spam AoEs. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like the super big attacks that look great, I think should be rare occurrences. I don't think they should be like things that are constantly going on in the fight, right? Like Godfrey has so many ground pound moves that half of his moveset has to be that shit. And it makes the fight annoying when all of his moves boil down to jump, right? Or run away, you know? And this is one thing I have mentioned before, is that depending on how this DLC ends, this might be the last Souls game that I get and play. I keep reading Frozen Maggot wrong. I keep reading it as something else. I might wear that just because it looks cool. See if it's lightweight enough where I can like hold this shield and have a full set on. Oh man, I look like Sauron. That's cool. Ooh, I forgot to tell you, they reused the dancing lion for an optional encounter. What do you think they did to improve it? I bet they just added another elemental skill to it. Because you said it does lightning, frost, wind. I would assume they'd add like fire or bleed to it next. Do they repeat it as a optional boss, or is it supposed to be like a mini boss, similar to kind of how the Dragon Slayer armor? They give him death. They give him death blight. Are you serious? That's fucking awful. That's just an awful idea. I do not support that idea at all. That's just terrible. And he spawns in Basilisk. You got to be memeing. You got to be lying, sheep. You have to be memeing. Doing that would just make it worse. Just there's no way that makes that better. I made the mistake of looking on Reddit and there was a guy defending it. I could not help but to type an essay on how stupid he was for it. Well, the biggest counter that I've found to a lot of those arguments is just make the most fallaciously ridiculous boss where there is no chance of winning, and then tell them to get good when they say that it's, unwinnable. It's like, it's bullshit. It's like, why don't we just have a boss that gives you 10 seconds to kill it? It has 10 million HP, and the only way you can kill it is by hitting it in one spot that's about 100 yards away from you, and you're slowed, all right? Get good. That's fucking retarded. Why would that boss work, right? Giving an enemy that gives Deathblight... Like, if Deathblight built up slowly or something, that'd be one thing. But it does not build up slowly. It's really fucking fast most of the time. It's just a really stupid gimmick to make things harder. All right, you're dealing with me, so I'm just gonna probably stay back. One thing I'm not a fan of is NPCs doing reduced damage to each other, but when they hit you, their damage goes back to normal. The Deathfly AoE is... I'm just going to read the chat while these guys deal with this boss. The Deathfly AoE is massive as well. I only won the fight because I cheesed it with Blasphemous Blade spamming. That's pretty pathetic that they have to just make a cloud of bullshit, and then you have to use counter bullshit to deal with it. It's a very common problem in this game. I like how Taish isn't even trying here. She's just looking at him just like, yeah, I guess we'll wait. Another bullshit encounter that shows hard but fair was lost. Getting attacked by enemies while trying to fight a giant boss. Just a reminder that if you die, the enemies in this encounter will respawn. Yeah. That's the thing, I don't mind smaller enemies being located near like a bigger boss. It's when the smaller enemies deal like a quarter, like a third or a half of your health as well on top of all this extra bullshit. These dudes are tanky though and are extremely hard hitting. As much as I meme about Guts Greatsword, it hits hard and yours has bleed. Yeah. Well, again, this is one thing. They make enemies that are ridiculously like beefy, and then you can stun lock them by crouching and poking them with a greatsword. It's like you create an enemy that's really, really strong, and then they're immediately undermined by the fact that you can just greatsword poke them to death. You know, it's that kind of shit where they're trying to keep the old systems in place, but add on to the systems, but it just doesn't make the experience more engaging. It's like you've made a more tedious encounter that is dealt with by using a really boring and repetitive combat strategy. It's like you've not actually fixed the problem. You've just introduced another problem to try to deal with this. Wait, is this like a... Oh, you activate spirits. That's a neat gimmick. That's a neat thing. That's one thing I find kind of strange is how they put the DLC behind Moog, who's probably one of the easiest to miss bosses of the game. Like, Melania, you can at least, like, know that there's an area there, like, in the Consecrated Snowfield, and once you get the map, you can see the giant tree. You know, there's enough there to kind of infer that there is a boss there at some point. But with Moog, he's, like, hidden underground in an area you may not get a map for, like, at all. Ah, damn it. I hate you, magma worms. You spinny lava-spewing fuckheads.
My heart to break my soul.
Agon's furled finger. See, that's weird. The fingers are weird. Let his dialogue play. This is a popular NPC. He sounds like a popular NPC. Most of the popular ones moan a lot. This is the most shit dragon of the area. You will see why. Well, it obviously looks like one of the ones from Farum Azula, which those ones are much more annoying because they just fight differently. So let's see how this does. Ancient Dragon Senesax. You actually have a name! I am glad to know that you have a name. Wow. That was fucking pathetic. That is a pathetic design for a boss to just AoE spam you. I'm curious now. There it is. It doesn't even make sense for them to go this route with summons. The game is meant to be accessible and easier, yet they go for hard DLC. But it's not even that. It's just like you don't give players the breathing room to use the mechanics that you taught them to use throughout the entire rest of the game. Right? Like if summons weren't a thing, this would be different. But summons are a thing. And summons have been a thing throughout the entire game. Look at that delayed shit. I loved seeing you rage at Bale, though. I thought you were incapable of anger in these games. No, I'm very much capable of anger. Most of it comes from not understanding the boss. And when you have a boss that kills you almost instantly all the time, it's very hard to learn a moveset. Some could consider it antithetical to the whole hard but fair thing when there's no time to learn. Sir Archer, we're going to put you in front of the campfire. But why, my lord? Why would you do that? Just because we have people to piss off. You know, comparatively. Oh my god, I'm stuck. Sauron flies now. This was, game was like, we can't deal with it, now you die. I love looking like Sauron with this giant sword. It just makes me so happy. This is one interesting thing that I should mention. When fighting Bale on the tank build I played him on, I almost killed him first try. Got him down to like 5% health, something tiny. And then he pulled out his Wombo move and did, I think, 2,375 points of damage in a single hit, which is just becoming typical of this game at this point. So that was a fun thing to deal with. I almost had Bale with 10 flash to my name, and you know what happened? He one-shotted me, and I had to spend another 20 minutes on the boss. Yeah, that's my biggest problem with a lot of the late-game Elden Ring stuff, is just there are so many, like, massive, giant explosion moves the boss does that are extremely difficult to get away from, track you like crazy, hit for a huge radius, and then they do a fuck ton of damage on top of that. It's just blatantly overpowered moves. You know, just blatantly overpowered moves that are extremely difficult to deal with. This is just wild that I clearly beat him, but make one mistake and now I'm set back into 5 minutes. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I hate. And I actually was ranting about this to my brother at the time, because he's kind of aware of Elden Ring, and he's played Elden Ring, but he's not interested in the DLC. And we were talking about difficulty, you know, and I mentioned that we're getting to the point where the difficulty is turning into like old arcade game difficulty, you know, where you have like the 1 life, you know, or the 3 lives type of thing, you know, and then you fail and have to come back. And it's that thing where we're progressively getting towards that 1 life, where unless you just blitz it completely, you're just going to get killed in 1 hit sometimes. And that's incredibly tedious. Like, I'm of the mind that all insta-kill moves, even at full health, like any insta-kill move, especially ones that are guaranteed to kill you even at full health, I think are absolutely retarded and only make games worse. I think insta-kill moves are terrible, and that is a hill I will die on. Some of these, this is one thing that I've found with Elden Ring as well, is just a lot of the talismans introduced are extremely niche, like scenarios where they would be most useful. You know what I mean? That's not to say that like their effects are bad. It's just that relative to how combat tends to flow, or anything tends to flow, you know, when you create something that only works within a gimmicky environment, you're going to end up with a gimmicky result that may or may not add to the experience at all. For a second, I thought you said run along the dragon's wang. We are but maggots. I always think of that dude from Skyrim saying that, and I keep thinking of the other word he could be saying. It fills me with joy. That's one thing about Bloodborne. The cum dungeon is worth it, but not actually going through it. One thing I don't like is how a lot of abilities will just smack your opponent far away from you. It kind of ruins the whole combo if you're like kicking your enemy across the arena half the time. I'm not a fan of that part of having like big weapons that just smack enemies all over the place. Yeah, it might be cool to see them fling back, but it also makes the combat last longer when you could just knock them to the ground. I was thinking, how are you supposed to pronounce G-A-O-L? Are you supposed to say like Gaul, or are you supposed to say Gale or Gale? Right? I don't know which way to say it. I keep wanting to say Gale because it sounds like we're going to have a Gale time. You pronounce it as jail. I love how not a single one of your guesses was right. And that was the exact same scenario for me too. Yeah. This is one thing I've found, like with like naming conventions in fantasy. Oftentimes they make you pronounce it in a way that doesn't seem normal, which I think is like a kind of a cheap way to make your thing stand out. You know, it's like spelling something like R-O-D-A, and you think it would sound like Rhoda or Rhoda, but instead they want you to say Grida or something like retarded like that. It's like that's not how English letters work. You absolute cabbage. I like how you have the option to just remain sad forever. You want to pick remain sad forever, or you will have to deal with an extra NPC in the mandatory NPC battle at the end. Oh, there's a mandatory NPC battle at the end of the DLC? Of course there is, and I believe they have no less than 20k HP each. Yeah. Well, that's one thing. This is the one thing about the NPC bosses is their difficulty becomes very one-dimensional because oftentimes they're stun lockable, right? Which doesn't make it good if they're in a group, but like it's still a thing where there is some sort of cheap way around it. So I can deal with it, but I got to see how they fight, which kind of dictates how everything goes. One thing I've noticed about the DLC in general as well is just it seems rather empty. Like in terms of like there's just a lot of here are enemies. They don't drop anything unique. They don't fight in a very unique way oftentimes. It's just kind of like here is big dude with club. Here is bird. Here is little dudes. Oftentimes it kind of feels the same. And that's kind of a letdown for anybody who enjoys enemies to have a little bit more variety in the overworld. Rallying cry of the chicken slayer. The M word. I'm glad to hear you say it. Clipped. We got him. Nigga, 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 nigga. I'm 100% nigga. You ever seen that SpongeBob video of that? That's pretty funny. It's got Gary saying it. And then they've got like the bleeped version of it, which is just as funny. Now I'm thinking of like a stereotypical nerd singing songs. Come back to me, it's almost easy. The silence was loud against Bale. It was the silence heard round the world. Yeah, the silent rage heard round the world. That's the weird thing, though, is like Bale as a boss isn't that difficult in terms of his moveset. It's just that the damage numbers are cranked. And that's the thing that like really hinders the whole thing. You must be heading to the Golem because you've done everything in this area. Lol, it's that empty. It is such a waste, though. This area is so beautiful. There's next to nothing here. Yeah. It's a really pretty location. It's just like, and I've actually been down near the southern part where all those like fallen mausoleum looking things are, and it's just you run around. There's like a high-end upgrade material on each of them, and that's it. It's like there's nothing else to it. It's like why is this even a thing? Aha! Now I get it. Thank you for letting me know this, sheep. This is a major help. I'm glad I made enough. And now I just wasted one. It is a mind-numbing, boring process. Oh, for the legs ones, you need to whack one of the legs repeatedly, stagger them until they fall down for a riposte. You have to do it twice. It is a mind-numbingly boring process. Yeah, they are a really tedious enemy. Design-wise, they look... This is the thing I found in Elden Ring. A lot of the designs, like visually, and sort of how they fight you, like in terms of the cosmetics of it, are actually really cool, right? I like the way a lot of the bosses look, the way a lot of the bosses look when they're attacking. It's just the damage numbers and the hitboxes are just so annoying to deal with when they're massive explosions all the time. Like, I couldn't enjoy Bale as much because they just overdid the explosive factor of it. Like, visually, I like his design and his attacks look cool, but I can't see half the shit because everything's fucking exploding. Yeah, you kind of question why they would make dragon spells this slow given the nature of boss speed and aggression now. Yeah, it doesn't even do that much damage by compare. Like, if you, like, the general rules applying for, like, magic in video games is typically that the longer it takes to cast, the more powerful the spell is, the more damage it will do, But just that spell that we use just doesn't have that much weight to it. Like, it hits as much as my greatsword at this point. At least to these guys, unless they're, like, specifically resistant to it. So it's like a long wind-up for average damage. It's like, that's just not something players want to trade off for. It's just not worth it. If this was Joseph Anderson's, he'd have complained that there wasn't a unique 20-second fall animation here. Yeah, of our player flailing around and spinning in circles. I kind of wish that the game wouldn't throw like I feel like if you look at this game and you take out all of the upgrade materials it gives you, there's not that much loot in the DLC so far. Right? A lot of it is just the same like type of like loot. It's just upgrade materials that you already have access to or theoretically should have access to if you've beaten the base game. Right? Like the late game materials, like the final upgrades for everything, that's fine. Like there's a limited amount of that. You can't just buy those. But there's so much that just like there's just so much loot in this DLC that is just upgrade materials that you should already have. Why do your fucking explosives do so much damage? Fuck off. Holy hell. I guess that's okay. Oh god, are they gonna repeat assets here? Why? Why, game? Why do you repeat assets? Why do you do this? Am I able to... No, I can't ride my steed, but he can here. It's one thing that really annoys me. This boss was not worth spending a rune arc on. It's just goopy dude with horse butthole. It is multi-tapping me. That's fucking bullshit. Why is that shit stunning me? I am blocking it. Fuck you, game. I think my biggest problem with this fight so far is just the multi-tapping. Like, the multi-tapping is the thing that makes me not want to refight the boss. Right? Because when I get stunned by the horse and then tapped immediately afterward by him, you know, in a combo that's really fast, you know, it feels like you already tapped me, game. Let me recover. Right? Like, you already beat me. Let me get up so I can keep trying. It's just like, nope, no, you're going to get combo stomped to death over and over and over. I doubt you'd be willing to just not do him, and a replay of this DLC from you is as likely as me saying DS2 is better than DS3 1. That's one thing. I plan to beat every boss in this DLC, whether I hate them or not, right? I want to fight them all, and I want to beat them all. You know. Imbibe nectar. I have nectar. Oh no, she has nectar, I guess. Okay. I guess we'll count that death. However, that was massively unfair. Like, why would interacting with an NPC just kill me? And why can't I attack you, you useless slut? St. Trina Disciples Cookbook. Lulling Branch. Can I please learn, like, the fucking... Like, is there actually a recipe for, like, raisins for this DLC? Like, is there actually a recipe? Because, holy shit, I've wasted so much time just doing nothing. You do legit have to do this multiple times, though, if you want to do a questline for Theolier. Like, you legitimately just have to drink poison, die, repeat, and then you can do a questline. Does the questline lead to, like, a boss or anything? Because if it doesn't lead to a boss, then I'm not going to do it. Nope, it does not lead to a boss at all. Okay, not doing it then. I'm not going to waste time dying to some random flower bitch. Some of those steps are hyper obscure. I'm talking stuff that you would never figure out. Yeah. I mean, this is one problem with... did I check that tree out? But yeah, I was going to say, this is one problem with a game that has secrets, is that in order to one-up the secrets from previous games, you have to make them more obscure. And eventually you're just going to hit a brick wall where in order to find a secret, you have to go to a secret area that's unlocked behind a secret quest line that's unlocked by an NPC who is supposed to die at a certain point, but has a secret dialogue that only opens up in between these two boss fights that happen to be right next to each other. And then you have, in order to do that, you have to pick up an item in 4 different areas of the map to actually be able to do this. Like, you're talking convoluted levels of secrecy here, where at that point you may as well just not include them. Because, I mean, who's going to figure this shit out? Right? And who's going to want to redo all this shit, right, when it's that tedious? I would rather have progression remain the same, but quest lines be easy to do. Yeah. I mean, I'm of the mind that I don't think quest lines should be locked off unless the quest lines deal with particular bosses. You know, like Igon's quest line with Bale makes sense, right? Like once he's defeated, you know, Bale's kind of done. He's done his shit. You know, he doesn't need to do anything else. Whereas others just randomly die because, or randomly disappear because quest lines cease. And it's just like, why? Like, why put all these restrictions on quest lines? This is one thing as well. Whenever you have a fight that requires you to farm items, I'm going to raise an eyebrow. I'm going to press X to doubt. Because if it takes farming items to fight an enemy, well, that's the only way to kill them, I'm probably going to give up on fighting the enemy. I'm going to come back and try to kill him at some later date, but I just don't have the resources right now. Is there anything useful? Like, I swear, this map just gets emptier and emptier the more I play it. It's like, is there anything? It's like every time I go exploring, I tend to find one dungeon and then, like, nothing else. I might find one item, but nothing else. There's just such a lack of content in this DLC by comparison to, like, other... Like these areas are similar to the end game of Elden Ring, where the areas don't have that much to them. You know, like Mountaintops of the Giants is, you know, ridiculously empty compared to like every other zone that came before it, right? And this kind of follows that to a certain extent, where there's a couple of areas to go to. You know, there's a couple like castles, like structures, a few caves, but that's it. Like there's not a lot else. It's so shameless. I will never trust anyone who gives something a 10 out of 10 ever. Yeah, if someone gives a 10 out of 10, there's something wrong. Like, I don't think any game is a 10 out of 10. There's always a glitch. There's always some design philosophy that didn't work well. There's always something. I counted a delayed attack on one of the DLC bosses, and it took about 3 seconds for their attack to land. 3 seconds, Vangaris. That may not sound like much, but that was just boring. Yeah, and I'm bringing that up in the video I'm working on, going over kind of the best and worst aspects of Elden Ring. It's definitely going in the worst, just the amount of bullshit the devs throw at you just to delay the combat. You know, just to just make shit longer, have enemies respawn more often, have combo last longer. It's just so much tedious, just boring extensions of combat. Oh, great, an upgrade I don't need. Thanks, game. Totally needed that. You've already given me like 8. Golden seeds being plentiful made it enjoyable to explore, but when the amount you need is as strict as skibbity fragments, it changes things. Indeed. When you don't pick up a skibbity fragment, it feels like a waste. You start to see those as the only useful things you can get in my opinion. Yeah. Well, that's the one thing that I think games should do more with is, or not do more with, but a game should kind of recognize that it's going to be very hard for players to find absolutely every piece of stuff like that. You know, so it might be helpful for the game overall to have like a couple extra here and there just so people can get what they need, so to speak, and then they should be good from there. You know, when you have it where the maximum is only found by finding all of them in a map this big, it does kind of fuck with the system. It makes you over-explore, which is exhausting to check every single nook and cranny in this enormous empty map. Yeah. Well, it's also a thing, too, where when you make a map this big and then you leave it as empty as the DLC is, people are going to give up exploring, which is going to make them have a harder time dealing with, you know, just stuff in the game. You know, and this is the one thing that I think is what I'm kind of feeling at the moment is I'm just tired of like I'm beginning to grow tired of this type of game, right? And this type of gimmick with the difficulty and all that shit. You know, like it's getting old, right? And they've not really shaken it up besides just making it arbitrarily more difficult. You know, it's just number increasing. You know, it's not changed the style of the fights as much as it has just add more spam, like add more enemies, add higher damage, add increased combos, add big explosions. You know, it's just you're dumbing down the system every time you do that instead of building it up to be more complicated. You know? New people love this style, though, because they think that this sort of difficulty was always the norm. Yeah, it's the people that misunderstand it that are often the ones that become the most problematic to deal with in the community. They play this and then see how much easier the others were to reach, an assumption that we prefer the older games out of bias. Yeah, it's just that a thing of where they just... It's the thing is, those games were difficult but fair for their time, right? But they've also aged as difficult but fair. This game is probably not going to age the same way the other games do. It's like Dark Souls isn't that hard compared to this. But if you play it at first, if you play it without playing the other games, it can be difficult still, right? But if you play the franchise backwards, you're going to run into issues. We're getting to the point where they're just taking old ideas and just making them bigger. And this is how it works now. Which isn't a bad thing in and of itself, but I feel like that's where it's reaching. This is one thing, too, where unless we get a boss out of this DLC that I really love, this probably will be the last FromSoft thing I buy, this DLC. Unless I hear really, really, really great things about the next game in whatever franchise they're doing, I'm probably going to leave this one be. I'm just going to go back and play the old games, have fun with them, and just kind of chill with them instead. I love the difficulty of the previous games. It felt approachable and learnable. Yeah. Well, I think the difficulty of the other things, too, was also just teaching you, patience, right? Which they all kind of teach you patience in different ways, but I feel like their messages of patience and paying attention has kind of inversely affected the experience as they go on. The games become more frenetic and fast as they go along, so it's kind of not teaching you patience as much as, try to smack the crap out of the enemy before they smack the crap out of you, which ends up working a lot through several of the games, which in turn makes the whole system sort of fall apart when you're trying to teach them to be faster, but also teaching them to slow down and pay attention. It's kind of, it's sort of it's not contradicting points, but it's like counterintuitive points to each other. Nowadays, we need to learn how to hit the boss in the middle of their combos, which hardly feels approachable when we die so easily. Yeah. Well, they've just made it harder to learn the system, which I think is the biggest problem with having bosses that do ridiculous amounts of damage. It's just, I can't learn a boss's combo if they kill me in one hit 90% of the time. I feel like one thing, too, is Elden Ring is the biggest combination of all of the game's strengths and weaknesses. Especially when it comes to the big flaily bosses like those guys. So they're not doing themselves any favors when they make bosses that flail around a whole bunch. This is one thing, too. Having, the FP regen, talisman, I think is actually really good for every build. Because now you have the option to, use your abilities more often, which means you'll use them more often. Why do you summon assholes? Haha, stun yourself with your own minions. You are not a Chad. You are not a Chad. I about died, but so what? Oh yeah, one thing. So far, of all the remembrance bosses I've gotten, I think Bale's been the worst so far. As much as I didn't like the dude with his horse, the weird dude with his horse, a lot of those attacks are just sort of simple combos and dodges. It's not overwhelming catastrophe like Bale is. Yeah, skibbity, 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 da! You guys are absolute bastards. I will never forgive From Software from making flying enemies. They're some of the worst enemies in the whole game. See that? Just keep fucking running away. Just annoying camera spinning fuckheads. Oh my god. Just when I'm done bitching about the fucking bats. Parkour! Yay! Parkour with bats. What else would you want out of a From Software game? Beating this boss will lead to a reward you're going to love. Alas, it's a dead end after the reward. Well, I'm here just to complete content, so it doesn't really matter if it leads anywhere. As long as it's something that provokes a reaction from me of some sort. I would hope positive, but my faith in positivity is slowly kind of fading as I go through this DLC. Oh, come on. His ass is a hitbox. This is one thing. I'm all for experimentation, but can we drop mounted combat? Like, it is just a chore. Hey, look, repeated assets. Woo! Elden Ring. Did you enjoy that fight? I know you did. Of course I enjoyed it, Sheep. I always enjoy every fight, every From Software game gives me. Every single one. What? That was not a grab before. Bruh, you need to give me time to recover, game. Fuck off. Oh, God. Fuck you, game. I'm kind of ready to be done with the DLC at this point. It's just, there's so much bullshit in the game. If I can't recover, just get the enemy, rip the clothes off my character, and then fucking peg me, right? Do it. If you want to be masochistic about all your shit, game, then just fucking do it. I swear to God, if Angaris literally time crunches Mesmer of all bosses. Well, we'll see. I am Mesmer, blade of myself. Yeah, first time. Let's see how it... Oh, God. Why repeat the assets? Why do it? This is neat. There's like an under... There's like an under finger. Which sounds really bad when you take that out of context. Oh, God. Are we going to get a repeat of another gravitational boss? It feels like it. Look at that. Even more repeated assets. This is one thing I've seen a lot while playing through this DLC is that it's remarkably empty. Like, it's remarkably empty of, like, shit to do beyond just fight enemy that you already fought, but again, you know. How the fuck are you already in this place? I don't know. Things just kind of happen when I play these games. What's your favorite build in any Souls game? I think it depends on the game, to be honest. I think generally my favorite is probably Glass Cannon, just because wielding a huge sword is fun. Or any huge weapon for that matter. After that, probably something magical. I really enjoyed sorcery in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, just because I liked the way FP was balanced. But Glass Cannon's usually my thing. Yeah. That's one thing that I kind of have mixed feelings about, is like, I like the sorcery in this game and Elden Ring, but I don't like how the enemies can deal with sorcery in both of these games. It's one of those things where I'm like, you made sorcery cool, and then you made enemies able to avoid almost all the cool things you let us do. It's just underwhelming. Come down so I can beat you, said every abusive father ever. The Tree Sentinels I didn't mind too much, though I'm disappointed they got 0 new moves or even a phase 2. It's like, it's the DLC, do something. Like, if they took them and, like, retextured them and gave them some new move sets, I mean, I would consider that an improvement over just copying and pasting them and just buffing the numbers. Fuck them for that Falling Star Beast, though. You get no sympathy from me on that. Plus, that area is, you guessed it, empty. Yeah, like, I went through it and just, there's nothing. It's like, why even bother? I've actually been thinking about that while playing through this DLC, is if you took this DLC and crunched all the stuff down to like a quarter of the map size, it would actually feel like a proper Souls DLC. Not like Elden Ring DLC, but like a proper Souls DLC with all the bosses and shit. It's just the wind up is to everything is just there's so much dead space. Just ridiculous amounts of dead space. This seems to be a common theme for the DLC. Beautiful but empty. It's beautiful, but vapid and meaningless. I really hate these guys, how they can stun you when you're blocking. And their moveset is big enough where they can get behind you while you're still blocking and hit you. That is some prime, like, fuck you developer design. Oh god. Don't tell me you guys do blood damage or something weird now. Make new shit. Stop repeating assets. Did you like it when the Death Knight grabbed you and healed 80% of his HP? Oh yeah, he was great. Yeah, that was a great encounter. That was truly a Souls moment. Well, we might actually do this just because we can stun lock him. Fuck you, Elden Ring. Take your bullshit and shove it up your ass. Well, let's give this whole boy a try. Okay. Oh, he's in a position that we enjoy. Alright, at least I know I can block most of that shit. Okay, I can throw anything in there and it damages him. So that's good. I need to... With this shield, I might be able to outlast him. Okay, I can shoot arrows into it. That helps. If it comes to it, I will just outlast the bastard. I will do everything in my power to outlast it. Oh. His AI is bugging out. I'm not doing anything. If he's going to sit there, I'm going to let him. Is that even doing damage? It is. It's doing a little bit of damage. It's going to take probably all the arrows I have, but I'd rather do this and beat him now than have to figure out where all the like parts are for the pots and then recraft them. So, how are you doing? This is going to take a little bit. Elden Ring combat. When the game gives you an opportunity, seize it. This is actually good information to know because now that I know that the hitbox for damage is basically in their like bowl part of their head, this means that I can use a lot of different means to exploit things. Let's see, I forget. Do I have the cannon? I have the cannon, but I'm afraid that if I move position, it's going to screw up what's going on right now. I can't believe you're cheesing. Well, I mean, considering how tedious it is to fight these guys, when the preferred method is using, something you have to farm materials for, I will consider this a win. I will consider this fair. Because it's either use this, or we have to run around and figure out how and if we can farm the things to make pots. So, I'd rather take a little tedium right now over looking up a whole bunch of shit just to make this fight work. Did you get the golem that drops the infinite stamina tier? Just curious. I don't know. I'm not sure. I got time to kill. May as well check it. See, where would you find the tiers at? Would they be? Yeah, they'd be in here. I don't think I found it. All right. I'm just using kind of whatever arrows up next. I don't even care anymore. Don't even bother. It's ass. It lasts for like 20 seconds, and do I even need to tell you why that isn't enough time? No, you don't. Yeah. That's one thing. If some of the effects of these like tiers lasted like a minute, that would be a significant help. But when it lasts like 20 seconds, that's like dealing with what, like 2 combos, like 2 or 3 combos of some enemies. And this is one thing too, like unless you're getting like in my experience, a lot of the tiers that I've used have primarily just been the ones that either give you health back, either slowly or instantly, or the ones that deplete FP usage, right? Like popping a flask that negates all FP consumption for a limited time and then hitting like a really well-timed a Comet Azure on a target is really good, right? Just because like you can just blast the shit out of a target that's stationary. It's just that thing where, you usually only get to use it once, which I think balances it properly. But when you have a thing that just gives you a bonus to something that you're probably gonna, not use as much afterwards anyway. When it's a temporary bonus that doesn't let you capitalize on much, I think that's a very not useful talisman. Not talisman, but tier. That's like 2 or 3 combos before you can even attack. At that point, I just use the stamina regen one. Now, is it a thing where it's infinite stamina regen boost, or is it a thing where your stamina costs nothing? Because if your stamina costs nothing, I would change my opinion slightly on it. Because if you have no like stamina penalty for anything, then I think that would actually warrant its lasting for maybe like 20 seconds or so. Even just to have it usable against different enemies in different ways. But if it's like a thing that just gives you a super stamina boost, or even gives you a boost while it still depletes it, you know, instead of having this where like use stamina, wait, use stamina, wait, use stamina, wait, and then regen. You know, if it lets you regen constantly, that would be one thing. Your stamina costs nothing, but it only applies to attacks. You will still lose stamina for blocking. That's such a stupid... Like, it's one of those things where the more niche they make mechanics in these games, the less useful they become over time. You know, that's just something that I think is they're gonna have to deal with at some point. This golem's gonna feel really stupid when we kill him this way. It's gonna be a fun day. All right, I'm trying to avoid some of the status ones just because the status ones are the ones I tend to keep for like special encounters if I need them. There we go. About time. All right. Cerulean Sapping Crystal tier, or Cracked tier. Grants attacks, FP restoring effect, and mixed physique. Okay, that's not too bad. Problem is you gave us a regen item for it, so it's kind of off balance now. Remind me to never get into a fight to the death with you. I don't know if I'd want you to slowly pick me to death with a freshly clipped fingernail or something. I will use whatever I can to defeat you. Oh, come on. Don't fuck me over, game. Game. Really? This is what happens when you put an enemy on a hill. Your mechanics don't work. Does that give me something useful? No, just more pots. I don't want pots. I want raisins. Take those quotes out of context. I bet it would be funny. What the fuck? When did you get here? Nice. An enemy in lighter armor that can't get stun locked. Can you stop with that fucking art already? Holy shit. Spam more. Spam more, game. Show me exactly what you're capable of. This is one thing that I both like and dislike about the DLC and the base game is how very early on in the base game and very early on in the DLC, you can get an item that regenerates your health and then your FP. But at the same time, I really dislike how the FP regen is locked to the DLC. I really wish that was just in the game, just full stop. Nothing says fair like an asshole who can hit you from the fucking sky and through walls. This is a unique case of fuck you. Sauron's a hell of an archer. What the fucking shit was that? Holy shit, man. Fuck these enemies. It's one of those things that you see in the game and you're like, okay, this is definitely, you know, because as I've been playing through this DLC, I've been seriously considering if I even want to pick up From Software's next game. Like, seriously, I have seriously thought about, like, is this going to be my last From game? Just because I am having so many problems with the way this shit is designed. There's just so much stuff that is just difficult but fucking retarded. You know? Gone are the days of difficult but fair. Now it's just difficult and memeable. That's about it. You guys made some like genre-defining games, right? You created a whole fucking soul genre after your creations, and the best you got is an enemy that can break through shields. It's just fucking lame. It's just, like, the best way I can describe it is just the difficulty in these games has become lame. I'm reaching my end point with how much, you know, with yeah, I'm at the point where I'm starting to kind of get tired of the phrase "get good," because I don't want to get good anymore, and that's the problem. I don't want to overcome these challenges. I just want to ignore them. You know, I've got good in the previous like 6 or 7 games that they've made, right? I don't want to get good anymore. I'm tired. I feel like butter stretched across too much From Software bread. This was one of the first games, like, in From Software, or, well, I should rephrase that. This was one of the games that From made where I just kind of go into exploring it fresh as, okay, let's just assume bullshit's around the corner. You know, and the only other game I did that with was Dark Souls 2. That was the only game where you could, like, get into the mindset of, okay, there's bullshit around the corner. You know, and it's a hard line bullshit. It's not one of those subjective bullshit things of, oh, the enemy beat me, therefore it's bullshit. It's like, no. Having an enemy that can kill me in a single cycle of an attack is fucking retarded. Right? You may as well just make a Pac-Man game where as soon as you get hit, you die. It's nice to know that attacks with a shield, you know, just go through anyway. Nothing like build negation to make the game truly feel fun. Yeah, there's fuck all here, so let me pull up my map and try to help. More DLC that has fuck all in it? Don't say. Don't say it. Hide yourself. Make not a sound. Quietly await your chance. Combat is not an option. All these messages are just the developers saying, fuck you. Just fuck you over and over and over and over again. Just fuck you. You want to experience our combat game? You don't get to. I really don't get why they turn your mount off in this area. It's just a fuck you moment. There's just so many moments in this DLC where they just go, hey, you enjoy our mechanics? Fuck you, you can't use them. It's like, why? Why don't you want us to enjoy your game? Why? People defend this too. If this was a linear, small path and the disabled torrent, fine, but this area is huge. Yeah, well, this area is huge and there's nothing in it. It's just rats. It's just rats and more rats. This area is so damn huge, man, and somehow they made it embarrassingly empty. Well, a lot of this DLC is sort of embarrassingly empty by comparison. This is like, you know, take Limgrave. Like, I've not done everything in Limgrave here, but that's like a sizable amount of, like, little ruins and little places to go where you get shit. And you get this DLC, which is like, yeah, like, look at all these sites of grace. A lot of these sites of grace are just stacked on top of each other in the same location, right? And it's like the castles are pretty good, right? Like the Shadow Keep and all that other stuff. They're pretty good. But there's just a lot of dead space in between those areas. Oh, God, there's more than one. Why are we doing this in a Souls game? Why do we do this shit? Door ahead, and then pain. You made it. Wasn't that fun? Oh, yes. 10 out of 10. Best FromSoft level ever made. I could almost feel my heart beating with how slow and boring that was. That reminds me, who is your favorite boss in all of Elden Ring? I don't think I ever asked. I'm kind of caught between... I really like the Radahn encounter, the base game Radahn encounter. I think it's a really fun gimmick that works pretty consistently. So Radahn's a really fun one. I like the second phase of Malekith. I really like the way Malekith fights. And this is one thing, bruh, I'm ranting. Leave me alone. Asshole. I'm ranting. I'm talking about shit. But, yeah, it's probably Radahn or Malekith. Melania would be up there. It's just Waterfowl does so much. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the fuck was that? Am I seriously going to get spammed by spells while I'm up here? I'm trying to rant about shit, game. Leave me alone. But yeah, it'd probably be Malekith or Radahn. Radagon and the Elden Beast have grown on me too, but they're not ones that I kind of look forward to fighting per se. The one thing though, actually, come to think of it, I think Radahn would probably be my favorite fight. Just the more I think about it, the more, like, I really don't like the Beast Clergyman phase of Malekith. That's the thing that kind of drags the fight for me, or drags the fight down for me. I'd rather just fight phase 2 as a full fight. You know. Plus this cutscene's rad, so that helps. But yeah, Mesmer wasn't too bad either. And upon refighting him on another character, I kind of like him a good bit. Not my favorite, but I do enjoy him being him, you know. Yeah, I was gonna say Melania. I would be up there. It's just I think she has too many moves that just do too many damage. That like Waterfowl is a cool move until you realize how much damage it does, and her health restoration on top of that's just overkill. Take those, like, reduce the damage of Waterfowl and take away the self-healing. I think she's one of the best bosses From's ever made. As it stands now, she's just overpowered. Your favorite's Mesmer, or the guy we're going to be fighting. Okay, so the fight we are going to be fighting should be good, or at least engaging. Joseph Anderson doesn't like Malekith. He says he has no openings. He has a lot of openings. It's just he's very agile. You got to play really aggressive with Malekith. It's very hard to play defensively against him. If you ran past one of the big horned knights, it's actually him hitting you from the ground. Oh, okay. Yeah. What a funny Elden Ring moment. Just spam paste a bunch of rats into a room. Also, yeah, I would like Melania, but Waterfowl Man and the healing does not seem like it belongs on a boss, let alone her. Like, if she had one move that healed her, you know, like if her grab restored some health, I'd be okay with that. Right? It's a grab. It's got to wind up. You know, it does some... It's a special move, you know? It's not every single fucking move she does. You know? Elden Ring. We'll cheap you out in the boss arena. But in the world, every enemy's basically an idiot. Actually, this boss might annoy you. Oh, no. What do you think the boss gimmick will be? Give me a good guess. Well, I'm assuming he's probably going to be humanoid. I'm assuming he'll do frenzy flame attacks. I'm guessing similar to Vike's moveset, maybe, where he like will rear his head back and shoot an AoE that shoots little frenzied flame projectiles across the arena. That's the best guess I got right now. Okay. Nyarg. You guessed the boss. I guess the. Are you serious? I guessed the boss. Maybe I should make a video game. First try this boss and I walk. Well, yeah. Let's see. I would stick him underneath Midair and Calamy. I don't care only for flashiness. I want the fight to feel fun too, and Bale was not that. Yeah. I think Midair is probably a decent middle ground between spectacle and mechanical variety. You know, just because he's got some moves that are very clearly like cool to look at from like a visual perspective, but you also have openings to punish those moves. You know, and he's not hard for the sake of it, you know. Whereas Bale just hits too damn hard. You know, which an argument can be made that Midair hits too hard with his like big laser beam, but Bale has so many attacks that do like 2k damage, even with various damage negation boosts and shit. It's just overkill, which is the problem with Elden Ring in general. So there's just so much overkill when it comes to a lot of the bosses. Oh my god, don't get me started on Bale immediately recovering after his grab and doing an attack. Yeah. Well, just his recovery rate's so fast that you don't have time to do very much damage to him. And in co-op especially, it seems like he's very mobile to the point of not letting you get a hit in after he does a combo. Like, I beat him on a tank build, and it was very hard to hit him, you know, if I was playing a tank build as a tank build, you know, where I blocked instead of dodged, right? And he hits you back so often. You know, I got most of my hits in while I had summons going. It wasn't even like a exchange of an... Midair hits hard, but even on New Game Plus 7, I was never getting hit as hard as Bale did on the base New Game. Yeah. Bale hits too hard. I think it's just the basic gist of it. He just hits way too hard. Yeah, and I think that's what loses me on Bale. Him recovering so quickly loses the luster of a terrifying dragon fight. Yeah. Well, the thing about Bale too is he has a lot of his attacks don't have a wind up that you can take advantage of, right? When he flies into the sky and does his super duper like AoE aerial attack thing, you kind of just have to like deal with it. You know, like you can't really attack him during the wind up to that. It's one reason why Midier's wind up for his laser, I think, is a really good wind up, because it gives you plenty of time to see what's coming, you know, and make a decision on how to deal with that. What is throwing like bleed at me? I was scared of Midier, but just annoyed with Bale because he'd do a giant lightning slam, then follow up immediately. Yeah. Well, it's like when everything's an insta-kill move or something really close to it, you're kind of limited on options in terms of how you deal with the attack. You know? Like if every move does like 2k damage, you know, the only thing that you have left is to heal or perfectly dodge. And most players are going to pick dodge. Or not dodge, but like heal, right? But he smacks you and then you die because he hits for like 3,000. Not the imp! He's a beautiful little boy. Leave him alone. He's a beautiful little boy. Leave him alone. I'll avenge you. I dub thee Little Timmy. I will avenge you. Oh, great. Just more of these fucks. Wonderful. Let me go ahead and kill myself just to get out of the way. I would actually go for a Dark Souls type of game, but you fight like farm animals. Like like the mechanics of the fight are like a Dark Souls game, but like the aesthetic of it is just like farm animals, and you're like a insect or something dealing with them. Fuck you. That's actually good timing because I really have to go to the bathroom, and regenerating while you go to the bathroom is half the fun of it. So I'm gonna do this real quick. Loot this here item. Oh god, fuck off. I need to pee. Give me a bathroom break. Oh, fuck you in your unlimited range. Fuck you. One thing I really don't like about Elden Ring are the flying enemies. They really fuck up blocking with the shield. But they spin around fast enough to get behind your shield, and that's really annoying. You know, your build may as well just not work at that point. Like, if you can't block an enemy when you're locked onto them and trying to face them, then you're building an enemy that is counterintuitive to the mechanics you have set up. Heightens the dexterity of the wearer, but causes the blessing of their retreat to become nauseating, reducing the restorative effect of drinking. More flask restriction bullshit. From Software, just say fuck it. Instead of giving us a health bar, just give us lives. Just as soon as we get hit, insta dead. Fuck it. You're hidden there anyway. May as well do it. May as well fucking commit to it. May as fucking well. Challenge Needle and her allies. Who are you? Oh, is this just a quest line thing? Like, can I actually just ignore this? You're close to max. You're quite good at exploration. I'm trying. Wait, what's the point of having the invasion if I'm blocked anyway? Just have her fucking be here as a boss. Why do we have to? Are they gonna gimp my resources to make this fight harder? Are they about to pull that shit out of their ass? Nothing better than summon spam. Summon NPC spam. Don't know how you feel about that NPC encounter, but that one damn near had me close to hating From Software. Yeah, it's just an absolute spam fest of NPCs with Elden Ring level health, which says a lot in and of itself. On top of high damage, and you're expected to do it with like one summon or on your own. It's like you're pushing your mechanics way past their limit and just making shit annoying. Like, yeah, they did it differently, but mechanically it's the same shit. Infinite FP, weapon art spammed, bullshit poise with literal rags. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If they did it in a gauntlet sort of fashion where you fought the enemies one at a time, I would have a different opinion, but just stacking them on top of each other, like on a timer, I think is just ridiculous. It's a pretty good cutscene, all things considered. We'll never understand the defense for Radon again. Yeah, his moveset is spiced up. It is the exact same fucking character in a $40 DLC. Well, it's time to make the most of Radon.
And my promised consort, Radon.
Oh, he's got the power of his streamer on his side. Because fairness is gay. You know they designed this in very specific ways when it comes to the way the stuns work. Like they made that particular attack where he's doing that, where you are guaranteed to be standing during the first hit of it until you are knocked down. They have programmed that to knock you down at the most inopportune time in that attack. Instead of going down as soon as it hits you, they have designed it where it is built to hit you, you know, and knock you down so that you have no opening. I think this is one thing where, let's see, how many deaths are we at? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75. What are we, like 77, I think, now? We're at 77 deaths right now. If we reach 100 by the end of the stream, I'm just going to give up on the DLC because I'm already not enjoying it for the most part, and I'm not invested in the franchise anymore after the base game. So I think this might just be a thing where we just quit out, and I don't even care because I don't plan to get good at this if this is what I'm in for. Like, he's hitting me with a hitbox that he's not hitting me with. He's way too tall to be hitting me when I'm right up next to him, but they just turn the hitboxes into his body. Damn it! I hit the dodge. Fuck you.
1,000-year voyage.
Yeah, at least I can get regen some health while this is going on. What does that symbol even do? Do I actually take increased damage, or is that just kind of a marker of like I will be healed, or they will be healed when I'm hitting the dodge button? For the love of God, dodge!
Let us go together.
Fucking hell! Like, what is going on? What the fuck? What the fuck is going on? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you, From Software. Fuck you. Honest to God, fuck you. What is that shit? That's fucking stupid. Get grabbed too many times, and now you just die. Just instantly die. Doesn't matter how much fucking health you have. That is an absolute fuck you to the player. Fuck From Software for putting that into a game. Why does that... Wait a minute. That does... Hold on a minute. That one move did like 2,000... That move must do like 3,000 damage or something, because it did like 1,000 damage to me while, like, with my shield up, which blocks like 0.5% of magic. That's fucking ridiculous. What was that shit? Game, you gotta give me a fucking opening. Give me enough time to heal, you absolute shitheads. Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck your game. Fuck you. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright, let's see. There's never been a point where I wanted to cry because the game wanted it to be as hard and as unfun as possible just to wave its dick. Like, hey fans, you know we're that super hard gaming company? Yeah, we have the hardest fucking boss, aren't we so cool? Yeah. Well, final thoughts after beating him. I think I need to refight him more, because while fighting him, I did notice openings in things, like as I like openings that you would not need for a like pokey build. You know what I mean? So the fight, I think, will improve, in my opinion, over time. But on principle, there's a lot of shit in this fight that I just don't like. You know, and again, just the overstuffing of different shit to make the boss stronger, I think is a negative. Just too much shit. There's too much shit in the boss fight. Once again, it's one of those things where, like, some of the moves, like the grabbing leading to you being insta defeated, is fucking gay. There's no other phrase for it. It's just fucking gay, right? It's stupid, right? It's, you know, it's again, it's one of those arbitrary. You've fucked up too many times. Now you die before you have a chance to heal. But now this time it doesn't matter how much health you have, you still fucking die because you got grabbed once. Or no, twice. Sorry. But it's just such a fucking lazy. That move is such a lazy way to kill the player. The combos just going on forever, and the damage cranking is just another way to make it ridiculous. You know, like you saw that. Like his meteor attacks. If you try to block them, they'll do more damage than if they hit you and knock you down. Like, that's ridiculous. That's such a ridiculous amount of damage to deal with. It's just the combos going on forever. Again, this has the same problems as a lot of stuff that I complained about throughout Elden Ring. Is just arbitrary extension of playtime, where the openings to do shit take longer and longer and longer until eventually we're going to get a boss like this, where you have to wait like 15 full seconds before you get an opening sometimes. And it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else really to say about this DLC. Just I feel like the last boss will improve over time the more I fight him, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to enjoy the boss overall, even after beating it multiple times. So I think it's safe to say that this is probably going to be the last From Software game that I pick up. I've still got Sekiro to play, so I might play that on ESAS now that this is sort of over, just because I'd like to learn to play that game. So I'd like to beat that game since it came before this, but I'm not looking forward to the next game after this. So I'm probably done with From Software after this. Just and I might go back on this later, but I'm feeling very strongly that I don't think I'll pick up another game of theirs if they continue down this path where just everything's extended, everything's cranked to 100 all the time, and just everything's just over the top to the point of, I think this is the last time I'll probably get good. Because after this, I just don't think I'll give a shit. I'd rather just do other shit. It's one thing to be hard. It's another thing to be just an experience of suffering, right? Literally every warning we've ever given for FromSoft's bosses was to prevent this kind of boss from being made, and here we are. That's a good way to put it, Sheep. That's a good way to put it. We have reached the zenith of what they can do without making it just a life health system where we just die as soon as we're tagged. There's not much else for them to go beyond just extending what they already have. But unless they overhaul the system, which they could, but they fucking won't do. These games sell like hotcakes, and people are going to eat it up, and people are going to enjoy it, and people are eventually going to beat the bosses using weird strategies, and they'll make their millions. But this one is tapping out. I'm probably going to continue working on that Elden Ring video I've mentioned in past streams of the top 5 best and worst things about Elden Ring. I'll probably continue playing Elden Ring just for the sake of that video. But I think after that, I'm not going to be into it. After that, I'm probably just going to focus on just other shit and just retire this series sort of permanently. Or at least not go back to any of the new games. Unless I hear really good things about the new games from people that I trust, I'm probably not going to go back. So congratulations, From Software. You made the most From Software boss ever, and now I want to quit.